Hey, everybody, and welcome to my live. We had quite a few people to um, ask me and my team what we could possibly talk about today as it relates to growth, as it relates to real estate, and as it relates to entrepreneurship. And there is so much, but we decided on self awareness. I've learned throughout my coaching that there are a lot of people that are not self aware. They think that they are self aware, but they're not. And I think there was a time when I was the same way. I thought I was different than I really was. So let me tell you what I'm saying with that. As it relates to real estate and as it relates to entrepreneurship or even any type of career, but real estate mostly, I'm going to talk about real estate. But let me give you the definition of self awareness first. Self awareness, according to Webster, is the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions, your own behaviors, your own thoughts, and your own motivations. And when I say that years back, many years back, I thought that I was very aware of my emotions. I thought that I wasn't reactionary. I really believed that I would always react with emotional intelligence. And I didn't. And it was my sister that called me out. And from there, I took a self awareness journey. And I hired a coach, and I still have that coach that I tell you about all of the time. I hired my coach about 10 years ago. So that had to be 10 years ago. And I was amazed at the difference that being self aware made in my life. So, self aware involves being conscious of how you interact with the world around you. Now, I had a friend of mine that I was talking with the other day, and we had a pretty deep conversation, and she said that she had a disagreement with someone on her job. Asked her how did she react, and she said, I told her off, and I'm over it. I said, are you really over it? She said, yes, I'm over it, but you brought it to my attention. And she got quiet. I said, now, did you react calmly with emotional intelligence, or did you just react and just tell her how you felt in a way that might not have been able to have been received by the other person? And she thought about it and said, you know what, I didn't react properly. So a lot of times I am saying we think that we are what we're not. And I'm bringing that up because I see that a lot in my industry, in the real estate industry. And this will help you plan how you can find out your emotional intelligence, and then you can properly goal plan. Okay. So in my industry, it is so common for people to see a successful realtor or hear about the real estate career and see how it's booming, and they're seeing on social media the realtors and all their fabulousness, and they're not seeing the realness of real estate. Um, and they walk into a real estate office after they take a course and say, I can do this. Or a person that wants to be an assistant to a real estate agent. They really think they can walk in there and conquer real estate in a week or so. I got this. It seems straightforward, right? But then you get into that position, and that is truly when you start to see what you don't know and who you are not. And I'm speaking in the real estate industry. If anyone is on that's not in the real estate industry and see it in your industry, then I'm sure you can relate. But I see it all day, every day in the real estate industry. And I've even had to tell people, and this is just a fact, okay? Real estate is not easy. There are layers and layers upon knowledge and systems and skills required, things that people didn't even know they needed to know. When you would walk it, when people have walked into my office for sure, I've actually seen it and I talk with my top producer for them. They see it. It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, Valerie, I have a degree in political science. Real estate doesn't really care about your degree. Well, Valerie, I'm a corporate executive. Real estate doesn't really care about that. Real estate cares about what you can do for a buyer, seller, investor, anybody that's purchasing or selling real estate. Your degree in political science doesn't relate to that. So, real estate is a live and living, breathing animal. And it's an animal in itself that has its own rules, that has its own regulations, and that has their own, well, it has its own life. Real estate has its own life. And the essentials needed, especially for new agents and assistants, they think that don't think they need training, and then they come in and they become aware again of what they don't know. You have to learn real estate, and you cannot learn it in a year. It is no way, because it's still moving and shaking and evolving. And I've been in the industry for 26 years, and I still don't know everything, but I have resources. Now, let me just tell you what I'm running into in my course training. I am running into realtors, new realtors, and assistants that, again, they think it's easy. But I teach them how to truly hit the ground running. I give them new tools and knowledge and strategies that most people learn only after years of trial and error. And that is a great gift to be taught. Because if you can shave off 5 to 10 years off of your career, if you plan on staying in the real estate industry for quite some time, it is worth it. You have to have a foundation. You have to have the foundational knowledge. You have to have the insight to survive. Not even survive, let's go with thrive in your role. So you need to get in the position to go from unaware to self-aware. Because again, real estate is real. Real estate is real and it's not easy. It's not just a career. It's alive with moving parts, constant changes, and unexpected challenges. And for those outside of the industry, it can look easy, a successful real estate or a successful assistant. And you think it's easy, and you look and you say, I can do that. They believe that they can catch on as they go. Not. You really have to study, and then you really need emotional intelligence. I want you to think about something. When people are buying and selling, do you think emotions have anything to do with it? Absolutely. So here's the truth. Real estate is not a walk in the park. It's not something, again, you can catch on to. It demands more than just hard work. It demands self-awareness. Why self-awareness? Why self-awareness matters in real estate? Because self-awareness is the difference between reactive and being proactive. It is the foundation of success in any industry, but I'm talking about real estate today. It's the foundation of success in the real estate industry because I've always said real estate is not just about selling houses. It's about managing expectations. It's about solving problems. It is about navigating the emotions and the challenges that your clients, your fellow realtors, and yourself need. And without self awareness, you can't recognize where your strengths are. You can't recognize where you need support. You can't even recognize that. I'm working with an agent right now that up until we started our coaching agent relationship, she needed support. She's now in the position to hire an assistant, but she wasn't even aware of that because she really thought she could handle it all. Well, if you're handling it at all, then you're your own assistant. You're your own person that's putting the sign out. You're doing everything. And that can be overwhelming as your business picks up. How your habits, how your communication style or lack of preparation might be holding you back from 5 to 6 clients that you can add on to the 5 to 6 clients that you already have. And what you need to truly master in the complexity of this field is self-awareness. Real estate agents, real estate professionals who lack self-awareness, if you continue to find yourself stuck in frustration, you really need to look here. You really need to look here. If you're wondering why your efforts aren't producing results, you think it's an external problem, it's a tough market, difficult clients, but the reality it starts right in here, right on the inside. That's where it starts. Right here, right here. Real estate is complex, okay? And that's a good thing because it really weeds those out that can't handle it. And the complexity of real estate is what makes it powerful. It's not just about contracts and closings. It's about understanding human behavior. It's about being emotionally intelligent and anticipating needs before they arise. Being self-aware allows you to see this complexity for what it is. It is a challenge to grow into something not to shy away from if you're interested in being a real estate agent. But I will tell you, you need proper training. You cannot walk into this complex, infinite, dynamic world of real estate, and because you graduated at the top of your class, I got this. I got this. As I'm from Atlanta. You don't got this. You don't have this. But I'm from Atlanta. You don't got this. You don't got. And then you find yourself questioning, am I really ready for this? What do I need to change? What do I need to learn? Or how do I improve to show up at my best? You need coaching. And that is why I created my course, The Essentials of Being a New Agent or of Being a Realtor Assistant or being a real estate agent. I created the course because I see too many people entering the industry and in a year they're out. And then those that make it past a year, they don't make it past 5 years. 97 are out in the 97% of realtors are out in the first year, and 80% are out in the third year, I think it is. Don't quote me, but I think it's about 65% that's out within 5 years. Don't quote me on that. I'm going by the top of my head. But just believe me, they drop out and out and out and out. I see it. Been around 26 years. I see it on a daily basis. Now, if you're really serious about real estate and you want to take this bull by the horn and really let it rock, My team has the link in the chat, and all you have to do is click the link, and grow. Now, I just want to tell you, it's not about just giving you the basic. It's about transforming you from unaware to self-aware. It's about teaching you how to think, act, and thrive in the real estate industry. But we're going to move on because there have been a lot of questions coming my way about self-awareness, how it relates to real estate, and even how it relates to planning. Because you can't plan if you don't know where you are. Can you plan if you don't know where you are? You can't do that. It just won't work. So I have questions waiting for me. And the first question is, how can I identify personal blind spots that may be hindering my professional growth or goal setting process? That's a great question because identifying blind spots begin with reflection and feedback. I have an agent that can never, when things go wrong, it's always the other person. It's always the system. It's always something else besides themselves. Oh, my system isn't working today. It's not working properly. It's getting me upset. And they never take accountability. So you have to think and ask yourself, where do I consistently face challenges? So if this system is not working, but it worked for me 5 minutes ago, what am I missing? What am I missing? So if somebody that you trust were to give you feedback and say to you, it's not the system, it's you, and this is where you're lacking. You have to be open, if you trust that person's advice, to listen. And then you have to reflect. If you don't trust that person's advice, you need to seek people that you trust. You need to seek fellow realtors that you trust, mentors. And you know what? I've even asked clients at the end of a transaction, I'll ask a client, where did you receive the most value out of this transaction? And then I will ask, where do you think we could have improved? Because I want to be self-aware, more self-aware every day. My ego is not too big to realize I need help on a daily basis. I'm not where I want to be every day. I'm consistently growing. And if you want to consistently grow, you have to be self-aware and you have to reflect. And I had another agent that realized one of her blind spots was avoiding delegation. She's growing her team, and I'm teaching her how to grow her team. And she thought, again, she could do everything by herself, but her mindset was limiting her growth. So I told her and another realtor that she trusts, we helped her to see the power of building trust and letting go of control. You got to let go of control. And that's not an easy thing to do when you're in the real estate industry and if you're a controlling person. But most realtors that I met, I don't think it's a survey out there, but I will tell you, most realtors that I know are very controlling. And they have to be with so many moving parts. I get that. I have another question here. What strategies can I use to balance personal goals with client demands without compromising my values or boundaries? What strategies can I use to balance personal growth and client demands without compromising my values or boundaries? Balancing personal and professional priorities starts with setting clear boundaries and communicating them. Time blocking is a practical strategy, and it can allocate dedicated time for personal growth. It can allocate personal time for your family, your self-care, while ensuring clients feel prioritized. You have to align your values with your clients by having a conversation and setting expectations. If a client demands conflicts with your core belief or your schedule, you have to learn how to say no gracefully or offer alternatives. Because if you don't, you'll grow to hate what you're doing. You really will. You have to set boundaries. 9 times out of 10, clients appreciate boundaries. I promise you that. I'll give you an example. I had a client who insisted on late night meetings, and that conflicted with my meeting time. It conflicted with my health because I have to get 8 hours of sleep. If I don't get 8 hours of sleep, I can't function. I have to get 8 hours of sleep, and I know people that only have to get 3, 4, 5. That would be a dream for me. I wish I could do that. I could, but I get a lot done. But I have to have 8 hours of sleep, and I told that client politely my availability, and I offered earlier times. They respected my boundaries and was able to maintain both my work. I was able to maintain both my work and my personal integrity. Because if I let that client push me to where I didn't want to go, it would have conflicted with my self awareness and my self growth. No, you can't do that. Number 3, how do I ensure my professional success aligns with my long term personal aspirations? How do I ensure my professional success aligns with my long term personal aspiration? I think clarity is key. I think you need to define your long term vision for both your personal and your professional success. And then once you know where you want to go, you have to plan it. And then you break it into actionable goals and then evaluate every decision through the lens of vision. I hope that makes sense. I realized my long-term goal, same person, Kiana. I realized my long-term goal was financial independence and the ability to mentor others. That's pretty cool. It's always good to want to help others. And to align with that, I transitioned from solely focusing on transactions to building systems and offering courses. Oh, she's offering. Wait a minute. I don't get her. I don't understand this question. I think she's telling me that her long term goal was financial independence and the ability to mentor others. And she wanted to align with that. So she transitioned from just focusing on transactions to building systems. Oh, she said that I taught her that. Okay, she transitioned from solely focusing on transactions to building systems, just like you offered, Valerie. Okay, I get it. Yay, very good. I'm sorry, I thought that was a question, and I was kind of confused about that. Well, I'm glad you did. I love sharing. I love teaching. I love my courses, and I love that they're at prices that you can afford. And I love that it becomes a membership and it's just growing. I love that. So thank you very much. Let's see. What role does self awareness play in setting realistic and meaningful goals that lead to client satisfaction? Again, self awareness is the foundation for setting goals. um, the goals that you want to achieve and that you can make impact with. Self aware is the foundation of that. So when you understand your strengths, your weaknesses, you know what? I created analysis called MAPS. MAPS, MAPS. And M means muscles. So that's your strength. A stands for achievable. No. That's SMART goals. My A stands for areas of growth. Where do you need to grow? What do I need to do? See, MAPS helps you to become self aware. And the P is what path do I take? And then the storm, S means storms. How do I get over my storms? It's called the map analysis. I'd love to teach you that. It goes much further than what each letter stands for. Um, let me give you a mantra of self awareness being the foundation of setting goals that are achievable. Um, hey, Amy, how are you? I'm so glad to see you. I used to have a mantra that said, I am dedicated, I am dependable, and I am driven. I don't go to sleep until I have resolved for my clients. And then after that, I started getting clients calling me at night. Well, Valerie, you said Valerie, you said you didn't go to sleep until you had resolve, until you had an answer for your client. I had to tweak that mantra because the expectation from that mantra was that I stayed up all night. And what I was really saying is, if I don't get that answer, I have a resolve to where I can get it by tomorrow, or I may have it resolved, but I'm not going to share it to you until the next day. I'm not going to share it to you at 11 o'clock at night. Okay. And I had to tweak my mantra to the hardest working woman in real estate. And people understood that a little bit a little bit more better. Now, how can I stay motivated and adapt my goals when personal and professional priorities shift unexpectedly? Um, Staying motivated requires a connection to your why, your deeper purpose. When priorities shift, you have to reassess your goals. And then while reassessing your goal, that can ensure that they still serve your bigger vision. And adaptability is key. Focus on what you can control and then create smaller, achievable milestones to maintain momentum. You got it, Amy. I will definitely connect with you after this call. Yay, I will. Now, let me give you an example of that. I had a family emergency once, and I had to pause. I had to pause in the middle of a huge, huge transaction. And in the middle of that transaction, I had to delegate, and I had to pause some of my professional projects that were coming up. And instead of abandoning my goals, I adjusted my timeline and focused on smaller wins, reminding myself that progress, we talked about this last week, not perfection was the goal. Progress and not perfection. Remember we talked about last week. Um, how do I handle moments when my personal values conflict with professional opportunities? Well, that's similar to the other question, but I guess we could go this route and state that you have to identify your non negotiables and stay true to them. You have to identify your non negotiables and stay true to them. My non negotiable is I am not working on Sabbath day. That's the day for my family and for God. And if that can't be respected, all I can say is I'm staying true to my non negotiable because not every opportunity will align with your vision. And saying no to something that doesn't align, it really can open the door to something better. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. You can make effort on one thing and that may not go through, but you turn around and something bigger happens. I live that life. I live that almost every day. But I'm gonna give you an example of that. I turned down a lucrative potential client that was rude and condescending. And that I let her go. I let her go. And she was a very exclusive client, very in the high range, over $1 million house. And that decision freed me to work with other clients who truly resonated with my mission because I found myself working with her and it created tension in my soul, in my being, and I had to let her go. It doesn't hurt. I can answer one more question. How can I recognize when it's time to let go of a goal um, that no longer serves me? Hmm. Well, you can reflect on whether the goal aligns, similar to my previous answer. Reflect on whether the goal aligns with your current values and your priorities. If pursuing it feels forced or draining, just like I said with the person that was condescending and mean, you're not allowed to be mean to me. And if pursuing that woman, it felt forced, I wasn't my natural self, and that started draining me. So I let it go, but I did not consider it a failure. It made space for something more aligned. Okay? So this is the last question. I know I said the other one, but this is a good one. What strategies can I use to improve my emotional intelligence in professional relationships? I love this. I love that question. I answer that question so much. Practice active listening. I just told a, well, I didn't tell him, a very good friend of mine, we had a conversation about active listening. And when you listen to understand. Do not listen to reply. Get the understanding of what your client is saying. Don't just answer all willy nilly. Y'all know that's my favorite word, willy nilly. Just don't answer. Oh, it's two words. Just don't answer all willy nilly. Find out what they're really saying. Don't cut them off. I'm looking for a 3 bedroom house with two. Okay, you want 2 bathrooms? No, I was going to say I wanted a 2 car garage. Listen. Then you have to practice empathy and self regulation. Emotional intelligence helps you navigate conflicts, it helps you to understand client needs, and it helps you to build lasting relationships. And that also goes for your personal life. It also goes for your personal life. And it's okay to take a step back and observe and listen. What's that saying? God gave you 2 ears, one mouth. So listen twice, speak once. Now, you know what? I'm going to tell you about once I was negotiating, and it was very intense. And I felt like I was a superwoman going up against a superman. I admit I had an ego, and so did he. Um, I admit I knew I had an ego, so did he. And it was tense, and we were getting nowhere. I think we forgot we were working with clients. It became about me and him. Now, if you're out there in this business world and you're in sales or you're in real estate, I know you are picking up what I'm putting down. I know you are, because sometimes it becomes about you and the other person. You have to step away from that. So I stepped away and I started listening more to my clients and more to what he was saying. And I wasn't combative. I just started listening and listening and listening. And I focused on understanding him, understanding his verbiage. I didn't care if he thought he was winning. And what he didn't realize is I was winning, because after understanding him, after showing empathy, and after really listening and letting my ego go, that shift led to a resolution that satisfied everybody involved. Okay? Satisfied everybody involved. So I am going to wrap it up here. I'm starting to really, really enjoy my lives. Y'all know in the beginning I was a little bit nervous and hesitant. But I do want to implore to you, if you know of a new agent or an aspiring agent or an agent who's struggling, a seasoned agent, or someone that wants to be an assistant, my team has that link in the chat, and all you have to do is click the link and grow. I'll see you next Thursday.